So Errol Spence picks up the WBA title after he defeats Yordenis Ugas via 10th round stoppage. So he is now the WBC, IBF and WBA welterweight champion. And this was a great performance by Errol Spence. I thought he looked very good tonight. He looked a lot better than what he did against Danny Garcia. And he said leading up to this fight that he was only 60-70% against Danny Garcia because obviously, you know, he had that really bad car crash, you know, just 10, 11 months before, and he was still recovering from that. And then obviously he was meant to have the Manny Pacquiao fight. Obviously couldn't have that fight, had to pull out due to an eye injury. And a lot of people were doubting Errol Spence. A lot of people were saying, you know, he's damaged goods. You know, he's not going to be as good as he used to be. But I think he put a lot of them doubters, you know, into silence tonight after his performance against Yordenis Ugas. It was a great performance from him. The output, the volume from Errol Spence was just second to none in there. He was throwing something like 60-70 punches around, landing about 35 to 40 punches around on Yordenis Ugas. And in my opinion, Yordenis Ugas boxed the wrong fight. I thought he could have boxed a little bit more. I thought he could have moved a little bit more, but he wanted to stand and bang it out with Errol Spence. You know, the ego, the macho-ness, you know, from Yordenis Ugas came out tonight in there against Errol Spence. He wanted to show Errol Spence that he could stand there and trade with him and get the better of it. But after the first few rounds, you could see that Ugas was not going to get the better of it in there because the output and the volume of Errol Spence, he just couldn't match it. And he was getting marked up. His face was getting swelled up. You know, he was getting hurt in there. He was getting stunned. And he did have a big moment in the 6th round. He seemed to hurt Errol Spence with a shot. And Errol Spence kind of turned his back. I think his mouthpiece fell out, but, you know, it's defend yourself at all times. And Yordenis Ugas jumped on him, hit him with another great hook. And Errol Spence kind of fell back into the ropes. Props to Errol Spence, though, because he seemed to recover quite quickly. And he got to the end of the round. And in the 7th round, he came out and stunned Ugas and just went back to work, you know. So that was a moment for Yordenis Ugas, but, you know, he couldn't capitalise on it. And then from that moment on, again, Errol Spence in control, landing great body shots all night, throwing great uppercuts as well, Errol Spence. That was a big punch for him tonight, the uppercut. He hurt Yordenis Ugas numerous times with the uppercut. You know, it was kind of a phone booth fight, you know, both guys, you know, standing like they were in a phone booth, and then Errol Spence was just hitting him with this uppercut all night long. He couldn't miss with it, you know, piecing him up with it. And yeah, Yordenis Ugas, in my opinion, I thought he could have boxed a little bit better here. But, you know, it is what it is. He got the big moment, the big unification fights that he always wanted in his career. But tonight, Errol Spence just showed why he's one of the best fighters in the world. And, you know, the fight with Terence Crawford now has to be made. Like, there's no one else for Errol Spence now, and there's nobody else for Terence Crawford. These two need to meet. They have all the belts. Them two have all the belts. Errol Spence has 3. Bud Crawford has 1, and, you know, that's going to be probably a problem when it comes to negotiating the fight because both men feel like they deserve the lion's share of the money, etc., etc., and both guys don't seem to want to budge on it. But for the sake of boxing, for the sake of the sport, for the sake of their legacies, to become undisputed, to become the numero uno of the welterweight division, they need to make this fight happen now because the fans are just clamouring for it. They don't want to see them fight anybody else. Yeah, Errol Spence took care of business tonight. He got another belt. People kind of just said, yeah, you know what, yeah, Ugas does have the WBA title. Let Spence go and get that. But a lot of people want to see Errol Spence fight Terence Crawford now. It's just been the question now for the past 3 or 4 years, ever since Terence Crawford moved up to 147 pounds. Even before then, people were saying when Terence Crawford moves up, he's going to beat Errol Spence, or Errol Spence is going to beat Terence Crawford. He's too small, etc. And we need to put it to bed now. We need to see who is the best 147 pound fighter in the world. Because tonight's performance, Errol Spence looked fantastic. And, you know, he definitely staked his claim to be the #1 welterweight in the world. Well, you got to say he is right now, to be honest, because he has the majority of the belts. Yes, Terence Crawford is a freeweight world champion. He's also undefeated. He's also been putting in spectacular performances. But Errol Spence, you know, he's beat Danny Garcia. He's beat Sean Porter. He's beat Kell Brook. He's now beat Yordenis Ugas. So you got to say, as of right now, Errol Spence is the #1 welterweight in the world until he meets Bud Crawford. And then we'll see if Bud Crawford is the #1 welterweight in the world. But the opinions will always split. People are going to say Spence is. People are going to say Crawford is. But yeah, Errol Spence tonight looked great. Did what he had to do. Yordenis Ugas, game as hell. Really came to fight. But I felt that he boxed the wrong fight. But, you know, he's a tough man. He just couldn't continue with that eye. But he would have kept fighting. But it is what it is. Errol Spence is now a 3-belt world champion. And hopefully we get to see the undisputed fight with Terence Crawford sooner rather than later. Comment below in the comment section. What did you guys think? I'm out.